If you think monsters are only in movies, hit subscribe because this one was real. The first snow had already buried half of Browning, Montana, when Deputy Ethan Cole got the call. "We found him," the voice crackled through the radio. "North end of the old Blackfeet Range. It's bad, Ethan." By the time Cole arrived, the blizzard had swallowed the horizon. Red and blue lights flickered against the white expanse, outlining the shape of something half buried in the snow. It wasn't an animal, though at first glance, it almost looked like one. The body was stripped of clothing, pale and stiff, with 2 long puncture marks on the neck. The blood, what little remained, had frozen into dark streaks across the ice. Locals whispered about the buffalo hunter, a name that hadn't been spoken aloud since the 1870s, the legend of a man who used to hunt not for meat but for revenge. But legends don't leave fresh corpses. Inside the tribal police station, Agent Mara Leland of the FBI's Missing Persons Division reviewed the file. The victim's name, John Tall Elk. Missing for 5 days. Known for poaching on sacred land. No defensive wounds. No signs of struggle. "What do you see?" Cole asked. Mara leaned closer to the photographs. 2 punctures. Not a knife. Not an animal bite either. Precision. Like a surgical tool. But something else caught her attention. A brand burned onto the man's shoulder. A buffalo skull with a feather through it. Cole froze. That's the mark of the old Buffalo Hunter clan. But that family line ended more than a century ago. That night the snow kept falling. The reservation seemed to hold its breath. From the outside, Browning looked like any other small Montana town. 1 gas station, a diner, a few flickering streetlights. But under the silence there was tension. The elders spoke of something returning, something ancient. Mara stayed in the field office late, going over old records. She found a photograph from 1870, a group of hunters posing beside a row of buffalo skulls. One of them, a tall man with hollow eyes, was identified as Isaac Red Horn, last known leader of the buffalo hunters. The file said he vanished after killing an entire family of settlers in a revenge raid. When Mara compared the facial structure to the man seen on a recent CCTV feed near the gas station, the jawline, the scar on the cheek, the resemblance was uncanny. "Ethan," she whispered, "what if he didn't vanish?" Cole gave a shaky laugh. "You think a man from 1870s walking around now?" But before she could answer, the radio crackled again. Another body. Same marks. Same brand. Only this time the security footage showed something impossible. The figure dragging the victim into the woods wasn't just familiar, it was identical to John Tall Elk himself. Mara's hand trembled as she rewound the footage. There, clear as day, was the dead man, alive, leading his killer into the dark trees. Cole muttered, "What the hell are we looking at?" The last frame froze on a reflection in the truck mirror, a pale face, old-fashioned coat, and eyes glowing faintly red in the snowlight. And behind that, carved into the frozen windshield, 3 words that made Mara's blood run cold. "Blood debt paid." If you thought it couldn't get darker, just wait till you hear what they found next. Hit subscribe because this case only got colder and stranger. The tribal police cordoned off the second crime scene before sunrise. Snow fell in thick sheets, muting every sound except the crunch of boots and the hum of generators. The body lay half submerged in a ditch just outside the reservation border. Same markings, same burned brand. But this time there was something new, a trail of bare footprints leading away from the body, disappearing into the storm. Agent Mara Leland crouched beside the corpse. "The blood's drained again," she said quietly. "But look at the temperature, it's below freezing. There's no way blood should still be liquid." Deputy Cole's jaw tightened. "You're saying what I think you're saying?" "I'm saying," she replied, "someone wanted us to see this." Inside the sheriff's trailer, walls were plastered with photographs, both recent and historical. Mara drew a red line connecting the 1870 disappearance of Isaac Red Horn to the 2 new victims. Each one, she noted, was linked by ancestry, descendants of settlers who had once clashed with Red Horn's tribe. "This isn't random," Mara said. "It's revenge. Generational. Someone's finishing what he started." Cole rubbed his eyes. "So who?" "There's no Red Horns left alive." "Maybe not," she murmured, "but what if someone's carrying on his debt?" They drove out to meet Elder Agnes, one of the oldest living members of the Blackfeet community. She lived alone in a cabin lined with dream catchers and animal bones. Her eyes were cloudy but her mind was sharp. "You're looking for the buffalo hunter," she said before Mara even asked. "But he's not hunting buffalo anymore." "Who is he hunting?" Mara asked. Agnes stirred her tea. The children of the trespassers. The ones who took his people's land, his wife, his child. Isaac Redhorn swore an oath before the spirits. They say his soul never rested. Every few generations he comes back, through blood. Mara frowned. Through blood. The elder nodded. A curse passed down through lineage. The man who carries the mark will remember things he never lived. Kill for reasons he never knew. Cole leaned forward. You're saying someone's possessed? But Agnes just shook her head. No. Curse. The buffalo hunter doesn't possess people. He becomes them. The wind howled outside, shaking the window panes. Mara's phone buzzed, another alert. A third victim. They sped through the storm to an abandoned barn at the edge of town. The door was half open, creaking in the wind. Inside, the air smelled like copper and smoke. Candles burned in a circle, their wax melted into strange symbols on the floor. Cole whispered, "Someone's performing rituals." At the center of the circle lay a buffalo skull, charred and split open. Inside it, a piece of human flesh shaped into the same feathered skull brand. Mara took a step back, heart pounding. "This isn't just murder," she said. "It's ceremony." Cole's flashlight swept across the far wall, revealing a message scrawled in blood. "The debt ends when the last blood spills." Before they could react, the barn lights flickered, once, twice, then died completely. In the sudden darkness, a voice whispered from behind them. "Oh, rough, ancient. Then let it end tonight." The sound of boots crunching in the straw grew louder. Cole raised his gun. "Show yourself." But when the lightning flashed through the broken roof, Mara saw the impossible. The figure standing there wore 19th century buckskin, a scar across his cheek and eyes that glowed faintly red. Exactly like the man from the photograph. Exactly like Isaac Redhorn. And then he smiled. "If you're still here, you're braver than most. But before you hit subscribe, remember, some stories don't end when the killer's caught." Mara froze, her breath catching in the icy air. The figure stood motionless beneath the leaking roof, snow drifting in through the cracks. His coat looked old, leather cracked and worn, stitched with beads that shimmered faintly under the flashlight. But it was the eyes that held her. Cold, red, empty. "Isaac Redhorn," she whispered. The man tilted his head slowly, his voice a low rasp. "You were their badge. Their blood. You think justice is yours to give." Cole's hands trembled as he kept his gun trained on him. "Stay where you are." But Redhorn didn't move. He just smiled, the kind of smile that wasn't meant for this world. "You can't shoot what's already paid in blood." Then the candles flared. The flame rose so high that for a moment, the whole barn glowed red. Mara shielded her eyes. When she looked again, the man was gone. Outside, the snowstorm had stopped. Everything was quiet, too quiet. "Tracks." Cole shouted, pointing to a trail leading toward the tree line. They followed it until the path split in two. One trail belonged to Redhorn, the other led to someone else. Barefoot. Bleeding. Mara recognized the print instantly, it matched Cole's boot size. But he hadn't been there before. She turned to him. "Ethan, why is your blood in these prints?" He paled. "That's impossible." Mara stepped closer. "Take off your glove." Reluctantly he did. And there, burned into the skin of his wrist, was the same brand, the buffalo skull with the feather through it. Cole stumbled back, shaking. "No. No, I didn't do this." Agnes's voice echoed in Mara's head. "The man who carries the mark will remember things he never lived." Cole dropped to his knees. His voice cracked. "Every night I dream I'm hunting. I see faces I don't know, I smell blood in the snow. Mara, it's like I've lived it before." The wind groaned through the trees, whispering like 1,000 voices. From somewhere deeper in the woods came a sound, the cry of a buffalo long extinct. Mara aimed her flashlight. In its beam she saw dozens of shapes, shadowy figures stepping through the snow, wearing old tribal coats and headdresses. But their faces were hollow, gray, eyes glowing faint red. Cole looked up, tears streaking down his face. "He's here, Mara. He's inside me." "Fight it," she said desperately. "You're not him." But his eyes began to change. The pupils thinned. His voice deepened, layered with another tone beneath it. "The debt must be paid." Mara aimed her gun, her hands trembling. "Ethan, please." He looked at her one last time, half himself, half something ancient. "Then end it." The gunshot echoed across the frozen fields. When the smoke cleared, only Mara stood in the snow, her breath white against the dark. Cole lay still, the brand on his wrist fading like ashes in the wind. She fell to her knees. Around her, the shadows dissolved, the figures vanishing one by one into the drifting snow. By morning the sky cleared. No sign of Red Horn. No sign of the curse. Only silence. Weeks later, Mara sat in her Washington, D.C. office, reading her final report. The case was closed, officially unsolved. But when she reached for her coffee, she noticed a faint mark on her wrist. A buffalo skull. Faint but there. Her reflection in the window looked different somehow, eyes darker, older, as if she'd seen centuries. She whispered, "Blood debt paid." And from the glass, something whispered back, "Not yet." If you thought this story was over, you're not ready for what comes next. Hit subscribe, because some debts, no matter how old, never stop hunting.